Recording. Stop.
Okay, hi, I'm Jimmy. I'm back again. And on my last recordings, we talked about the iPhone. And I had somebody asked me at one point how blind people read books. And I guess being for me, to me, that seems like a stupid question. But then I stop and think back, these people have never dealt with this thing. They don't really understand the different ways that we can do things. So today, we're going to talk about the free reading program from the National Library Service. And used to, I don't have the player here, but used to it was done on cassettes. And they would send you a cassette player, and you tell them what kind of books you're interested in, and they would mail you out books on cassette, and you'd listen to them and send the books back. Well, at that time, the technology was really good. I mean, it worked. It's what it was. It was that time's technology. But as everybody who's dealt with cassette tapes know, that after being played so many times, the quality of the tape diminishes. And if the machine internal workings get dirty, well, then the machine will chew up the tape. So they've got to completely re-record everything from the demo again, which would take, for books, you're talking anywhere from 6 hours to 20, 30 hours, depending upon the size of the book. And it was just a very long process. But now they've come up with digital books, which is very similar to your MP3 books or your books on CDs or audio books like you download from Audible. Most people are familiar with Audible. But this was a government program that was set up, I don't even know when, but it's been in existence for as long as I can remember. And now we have moved to digital cartridges. And this digital cartridge did not come from the library service. This is a cartridge I purchased. It is a USB cartridge. It uses a USB extension cable to connect it to your computer. And there is a site called Bard, B-A-R-D. I don't know the website off the top of my head, but you have to have a PIN number and login information from the National Library Service. And you can go up there and download Braille and audiobooks. If you have a computer with a refreshable Braille display, then you can download these books and save them to your hard drive and read them with your refreshable Braille display. Or you can download them in audio format, which is a specialized locked audio format. And it is done that way so that they can be sure that the people using these books comply with the laws for these books. Because they are provided to blind people, visually impaired people, dyslexic people that qualify free of charge. And the books they're not like Bookshare and all of these other places where your books are older that you get for free. Well, I'm trying to remember the app on the iPhone, iPad, iPod that you can download these textbooks and read them in iBooks. And they're free. It's not the older books like that. As a matter of fact, the book I read, finished last night, was done in late 2012. But this little cartridge will hold 2 gigabytes of data. Right now, this cartridge holds 16 books that I have downloaded off the internet and moved over to the cartridge. Okay, the cartridge plays in the NLS player, which looks like this. Actually, it sits this away, but so that you have a better view of it, I will hold it this way. It has the carrying handle, of course, and this little cartridge will slip in the top right here, like so, and the books will be loaded. It also has here on the side a USB port where you could, if you wanted to, move books to a thumb drive and plug the thumb drive in there. Now, it will not play them from a hard drive. It has to be a thumb drive or the cartridge built special for the player. And the reason I chose this cartridge cost me 11 bucks. A 2 gig cartridge cost me 11 bucks. So I chose to go with this cartridge because I like to, when I'm cleaning house, washing clothes, whatever, I like to carry my player with me. And the idea of a thumb drive sticking out the side of the player, I mean, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for something bad to happen. So I went ahead and purchased the USB extension cable and the cartridge that is built special for the player. It has a power cord in back. It is rechargeable. When I first got this player, the battery life on one charge was like 29 hours. But now it only tells me over 10 hours. But 10 hours is plenty. So if you take this cartridge out, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the player on. I'm going to hold down this round button.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function.
Okay, I'm going to turn the volume up.
Volume. Maximum. To increase the volume by one step, press the volume up button. There are 15 volume steps.
Okay, so here you've got your volume up and down right here, of course.
Volume down. To decrease the volume. Volume. Maximum. To increase the volume by one step, press the volume up button.
Since there is no cartridge in here, we're in a help mode. So if I press any of these buttons, it's going to tell me what these buttons do. For example, this big square one is the play button. It also has a double feature. And let's see if it's going to tell us about it.
Play, stop. To start or stop playing a book, use the large play stop button. When the book is playing, press this same button to stop the player. When you press play again, the book will continue playing where you last stopped. If the cartridge contains more than one book, then pressing and holding the play stop button for 2 seconds will enter the bookshelf. From the bookshelf, you may select from the books available using the rewind and fast forward buttons. To exit the bookshelf and play the book, press the play stop button again. When you have explored all the buttons and are ready to play a book, insert a cartridge into the slot located in the front center of the player. Insert the end of the cartridge opposite the finger hole.
Okay, I stopped it. So it was referring to the fast forward rewind buttons, which are right here.
Rewind. Press this rewind button once to move backward 5 seconds in the book. Press and hold this rewind button to move back further in the book. The longer you hold the button down, the more quickly you will move backward. The player will tell you how far the reading position has moved. If you hold down the rewind button for 10 seconds, you will back up 15 minutes in the book. If you hold down the rewind button longer than 10 seconds, the reading position will continue moving, progressively faster, back to the previous chapter, where it will then move from chapter to chapter. You will hear a beep.
Okay, we're going to stop that because you really got enough of that. And the fast forward button works the same way. Now the little moon-shaped button here is a sleep timer button. You can set the machine to play for 15, 30, 45, or 60 minutes before it shuts itself off. So you press it once and it'd be 15 minutes. You press it twice, 30, 3 times 45, 4 times 60 minutes, and I believe if you press it 5 times, it turns the sleep timer off. Okay, and those, now you've seen, okay, besides these two over here and these two over on this other side, this is your speed button.
Tone up. To raise the tone of the voice by 1 step, press the tone up button.
So you can
there are
change
11 tone steps.
Okay, be quiet. You can change up and down with these two buttons. You can change the tone of the reader's voice, deeper or higher, or put it back to normal. And on this side is a speed button, up and down. And what's neat about these digital players over the cassette players is in the cassette players, when you would speed up the reading rate, you would get the chipmunks. And if they were reading too fast and you would slow it down, they would get real draggy, sounding like they're drunk.
Speed up. To increase the reading speed by 1.
Yeah, be quiet. But it sounded like they'd get drunk. So on the digital players, they do not do that. Of course, this big round part is your speaker. Now, there are more buttons on this particular device. I think I have described everything in the base model. Now, we're going to go on, this is the advanced version. And you have a button here in the center, a square button with a line on it.
Navigation menu. To choose from the types of navigation available in a book, such as by chapter, section, or bookmark, press this navigation menu button repeatedly. The menu may have different choices.
Okay, so for example, most books just have markers at the chapter. So you would use this arrow button to go back and this arrow button to go forward that's on the side of the square button. But sometimes you have books that have been recorded as one book, but they're really, say, 3 books within one. So if you were to push this button, it would say books at level 1. And then you'd push it again. Well, then if you'd use your left and right arrows, it would navigate you between the books that were recorded together in a group. Perfect example is you can buy a version of 50 Shades of Grey that has all 3 books in it. And that on these devices is recorded, because it was released as one book, was recorded as one book, but it's really 3 books. So if you wanted to navigate between the books, should be just fine. But what if you want to navigate between the chapters? Well, then you'd press the square button again, and it would say chapters at level 2. So now, instead of your left and right arrows moving you between chapters, let me shut that up. Okay, it would move you between the chapters instead of the books. And that only leaves 2 more buttons on this machine. And we're going to talk about the square one over here that I'm between my fingers now, which is your bookmark button. Any book that you are reading, you can place with this button a bookmark. So let's say that you found an interesting, let's say you're reading a psychology book and you found an easy passage that you wanted to come back to later for reference. You could push the bookmark button and it would place a bookmark in that book. And even if you take the cartridge out, the
16.
Be quiet.
The Cove.
Current.
Okay, it's saying that because I put the cartridge back in. But it'll put bookmarks in there, and back to the left-right arrow and this other square button in the middle, you would then have a bookmarks jump when you push the middle square button, and you would be able to move back to that particular bookmark with your left or right arrows. And you can put hundreds of bookmarks in one book. Now we're going to go over to the last button left on the machine, which is the diamond shaped button, which is your info button. And that is why I inserted this cartridge
volume down
back into the player. And I'm going to turn volume down a little bit because
volume
it's just
down.
starting. So I'm going to press the info button, and I'm going to let the machine rattle off all the information about whichever book it has selected on this cartridge. Here we go.
Information. Current position.
Chapter 4.
Time elapsed 1 hour 11 minutes. Time remaining 6 hours 7 minutes. Total time 7 hours 19 minutes. 16. Books. Book 12. Title.
The Cove.
Battery charge remaining greater than 10 hours. Battery powered. Press and hold the info button to play the user guide.
Okay. So we just learned all the information we need about this book. We learned where we were. And if we take the same button and hold it down, then we can read the user guide, which is always available here. Now I want to go back to the big square play pause button, because this is where I want to show you. This is your library button. As I told you, there are 16 books on this cartridge. So I'm going to press and hold the play pause button.
And stood about him.
Why is it not working?
Bookshelf 16. Books. Book 12.
The Cove.
Okay, so it says we're reading Book 12, The Cove. So I can use the fast forward and rewind buttons to see what other books are on here.
13.
Lucky in Love.
14.
Heartbroken.
13.
Luck.
12. 11.
The Man Who Cast Two Shadows.
10.
All summer long.
Okay, so let's go back.
11.
The Man Who Cast Two Shadows.
Let's go back to The Cove.
12.
The Cove.
Okay, so I'm going to press the play pause because that's the book I want to read.
We need to get you to the cabin, Laurel said. If I help get you up, can you walk?
Okay, so see, it started exactly where I stopped reading the book. And, my friends, that is one way blind people read books. Once again, my email address is Kilo Delta 5 Quebec Hotel Hotel. That is phonetically, it's kd5qhh@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and if you've got any questions, requests, or suggestions, send me an email.
Close. Dog sleep hill. Snooze. Snooze. Press snooze. Finder. Desktop. Backup. Quick.